Welcome to today's Business Spotlight. Today, our guest is Gary O'Sullivan from Osenge.ie. Gary, you're very welcome. Great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate it. I'm delighted to be here.
Fantastic. So for our audience today, who are you? What do you do? And how long have you been doing it?
Osenge, we're a multidisciplinary engineering team based in Claremorris in County Mayo. Our primary focus is within the life science sector. We have been established since 2018, where our team has grown from 1 to 12 direct employees. And with our value in supply chain, we can expand that team to over 30 engineers to allow us to deliver more complex projects. We pride ourselves on quality in service delivery. This is because of our hardworking team, and our repeat business year on year contributes over 90% of our turnover. So, and that shows why global companies choose Osenge.
Fantastic. So you mentioned global, so you're dealing not only with Irish companies, you're dealing with European and foreign companies as well.
Yeah, so most of our business comes from, I suppose, FDI companies. I suppose where their primary base is outside the US, where we're working on a lot of their sites here in Ireland. And I suppose our long-term goals is to work with those same companies in Europe and back in the US.
Fantastic. So building up based on your connections. So I'm sure your business hasn't grown in a straight line. What has the journey been like over those years?
Well, I suppose we started in 2018 with myself. I suppose within the first year of business, I suppose I broke my leg in 7 places, and I was bedbound for 3 months. So that was a challenging time for the business and our growing.
Were you pushed, or what happened?
Trampoline.
Oh my goodness. So we
But
won't see you in the Olympics the next time round.
So yeah, so that was a challenging first year. So we made a decision probably earlier than I would have thought of hiring in a senior person into the business to help me, which was probably, in hindsight, was a great move. At the time, very, I suppose, worrying. You're very early stage in business and making those decisions. Then I suppose we moved on from that, and then we hit COVID. And we had, COVID then within our second and third year of business. So that was quite challenging as well. I suppose I remember sitting in the kitchen working from home like everybody else, is wondering, what are we going to get through this? Where are we going to have projects, or how the business is going to grow? And I suppose, fortunately, we were working within the life science sector, and that sector accelerated through COVID. And all of a sudden we started to grow, and started seeing our business grow and turnover grow, I suppose, year on year. And I suppose the rest to say is history, and we've I suppose experienced, I suppose, significant, not significant growth, but growth year on year, and are, I suppose, seeing the forecast of that growth to continue.
Fantastic. So a lot of people are fed up talking about COVID, but the interesting thing I think about COVID is that it forced change upon us. And I think at the end of the day, some of us have come out even stronger after COVID, because those changes had to be implemented, and we were able to update practices that we were so used to doing, and actually made it more economical for us. Did you find something the same?
Yeah, I would have. Look, I said we found we could probably deliver a lot more when we were working remotely, from efficiency's point of view. We didn't have to be, I suppose, in the car or driving back and forth to site an awful lot in that last time. So we probably found heightened efficiencies. And look, the hybrid working, we were already partly doing it, but it worked for us. And I suppose we've maintained that, I suppose, throughout, I suppose, since COVID left us, or, the restrictions lifted, we maintain our hybrid working arrangements. And I suppose we pushed that further to, I suppose, our staff are now operate on a 9-day fortnight. So every second Friday, we alternate, our staff are off. So it's a 3-day weekend every weekend here at Osenge.
I'd like a job, please. That sounds fantastic. Brilliant. So speaking of that team, that you're growing that team, what is most important to you when you're hiring for your team?
I suppose obviously experience is key from what we're looking to deliver from our clients. But we are a small team, and I suppose that personality of the person is very important for us, to make sure that they fit within our team, that it's not going to disrupt. I suppose being a small company and a close team, everybody works very closely together. So the wrong person can upset that dynamic very, I suppose, dramatically, and I suppose upset efficiencies and cause, I suppose, our staff not to get on or not to want to be here. So we just have to be very careful on that. And that's probably one of the biggest things, I suppose, when I look at hiring people is, will they fit in? Will they fit in the culture? Will they fit in with the rest of the team? Will they work well with everybody? You know, a lot of experience out there, but I said you could have the most experienced person or engineer out there, and if they don't fit in within a small team,
So
it's
creating the culture is important to you?
yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
for you then, you're the leader of the business. How do you manage your time to make sure that you might make sure your team get the time? How do you manage, do you get a 50-50 work-life balance?
Um, yeah, I suppose I do. Look, I said, I suppose I try to start a little bit later in the morning, not later, but I said I try to start at 9, but I said I would always have breakfast and try to have breakfast with my kids and my wife every morning when I can, if I'm not having to be on the road early. But I said, which, you know, I try to ensure that I'm there in the morning. Then the evenings, then look, I try to get to the gym a couple of evenings a week, you know, to that de-stress before you get home,
Very good.
and then to be home as much as you can. I spent my career before I set up the business working 80, you know, 70, 80 hours a week every week, and
Yeah.
I missed out on an awful lot. I missed out a lot
Yeah.
of, you know, my kids when they were, you know, babies. So I made a conscious decision when I was at my own that I wasn't going to do that again. So you just have to enforce it and just look, be efficient with your time, and you know, try to, you know,
Yeah.
get that balance. It's you'll never get it right. It's there's
Yeah, but
always
it's so
going to be people
important for
trying
you
to
to make sure
understand.
you get your life balance, isn't it? Because you have got a life outside work, and the reason we work
100%.
is why. The reason we work is for our
Yeah, well, look, we
downtime.
do it for our family. We do it for the
Exactly.
life outside of it. So it's
Exactly.
important to realize that, you know, you want to spend as much time there and don't want to look back and whether just what have I missed?
Yeah. So tell me, getting into the business side of it again, does technology play a large part in what you do?
It does, yeah. Like I said, it's we're I suppose from our point of view, a big believer in being, I suppose, innovation and try to be ahead of the curve or try to pivot as quickly as possible. You know, from we have touchscreen, large screen TVs, we don't print, we everything is done digitally. We have our own software engineers here where we're building our own software tools to increase our own efficiencies in business.
Mhm.
We've brought in I suppose, augmented reality headsets from the Microsoft HoloLens
Oh,
in relation to LiDAR scanning and I suppose we have cameras then that go onto the hard hats so we can video cast back
excellent.
site. So
Yeah,
look, you have to keep pushing ahead.
yeah,
You know, innovate or die, isn't that kind of from a
absolutely.
business point of view?
Well, if you ain't growing, you're dying. It's very simple.
Yeah.
So tell me, where does your business look like? What does it look like for you in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Interesting enough, we're sitting down at the moment to try and plan that roadmap out at the moment. Um, I think I hope to within the next 5 years that we will have a, I suppose, solid workload within Europe and possibly either a base in Europe or the US. That's the target. So we now have to. That's the end result. Now we have to map the route to get there.
Fantastic, fantastic. So with all the success that you've had so far, what would you say, looking back, what would you do differently if you could go back?
Um, I'd have more confidence from day one. I'd back myself more, um, and say yes more. You know, probably at the early days, you know, you're risk adverse. You're not the risk adverse, but you're probably biased in relation to afraid to make those commitments and just
Mm,
go for it. And we're seeing that when we do, you know, make this commitments or go for the projects, but success follows. You know, we built our team, we built, you know, so take a little bit more risk, I think.
fantastic. And so for those of the entrepreneurs amongst us, what advice would you give to an 18-year-old you?
Do it. Um,
Just do it.
just like what is the worst that can happen? You fail.
Yeah,
And if you fail, you get up again and start again. As I said, someone asked me when, you know, well, what if you fail? I said, well, I get a job.
yeah,
It's not an issue. I said, I can get a job in the morning. You know,
yeah,
so
yeah, absolutely.
if you fail, you know, try
Yeah.
again.
So fail fast is the only secret to it.
Yeah, fail fast and go again.
Gary, fantastic. This is just a short little interview. Thank you so much for participating in this today. Somebody wants to get in touch with you, Gary, osenge.ie is your website. And what sort of businesses are you looking to speak with at the moment?
I suppose our primary focus in the industrial life science sector. We do a lot of work in clean rooms and pharmaceutical design. So that sector is probably our key focus at this stage.
Fantastic. Gary, thank you so much for
Thank you
participating.
very
I
much,
wish you
Tom.
every success with the future.